were pretty much responsible. The books say that the Great Pyramids are building the Great Pyramids on Giza plateaus. So they ruled at this time. It was mighty in an extensive centralized government, and their immediate family members helped to manage. So these were great temples and cemeteries for the royal family and the ministers. So a lot of the times, like I mentioned in the other dynasty period, the pre-dynastic period is a lot of where they did their administrative work. A lot of that was pretty much like their home and also their cemetery at the same time. Because if you look at my old lesson about the pre-dynastic period, most of them were buried in those mastabas as well. So you find a lot of good stuff in there. So of course over the years, grave robbers and archaeologists and people that practice iconoclasm, which means to whitewash or claw away or chip away of these great findings that you see here in the pyramids. Okay. So you do have the pyramid text here. It's pretty much, if you look at Pert Heru, that means coming forth by day, and it also means the Book of the Dead. Mistakenly, Eurocentric scholars called it Books of the Dead because they didn't really understand it and they had the wrong translation. But it's the Book of the Dead, and it's pretty much this is the hieroglyphs that you would see on the tombs. And I want to actually go to the page here so I can actually read the description so you can know the information. And give me one moment to actually.
You can show the people the book if you'd like.
I'm gonna do that. And so let me see. Actually, okay, so we right here. So this is on page 88 of the Nile Valley Contributions to Civilization, Anthony Browder's book. So this was an inscription carved on the walls of the Pyramid of Unas of the 5th dynasty, 2465 BCE. And these writings were later referred to as the pyramid texts. They were combined with other writings found in numerous coffins and tombs, incorporated into the publication called the Book of the Dead. So we're gonna be talking about that just a little bit. We're gonna read a few excerpts about Pert M Heru. Okay, so we're gonna look into that too, but that's what that is for. We're gonna talk about that later. But in the 5th dynasty of Kemet is the 2465 to 2325 BCE. And during this time, things became more chaotic. The royal pyramids lessened in size, and it was symbolic, while the symbolic decorations of the tombs increased in significance. The family's monopoly on power became lost. That's supposed to be monopoly. I don't know why that says that. In addition, this resulted in the increase of regional officials in more remote regions. So a lot of, since they pretty much lost control due to a lot of in-house squabblings, a lot of everything that was being ruled during that time became more decentralized, and that period wasn't as significant. But there was a god that rose, and his name was Ra. We kind of talked about him. So the sun god Ra rose to dominance during this time. But we do know that Asar is also worshipped in this time as well because of the Asarian resurrection myth that came. So that's been around too, around like 2575 BCE. So we do have that going on as well. So as I told you before, the sun god Ra represents. This is the trinity of himself. So Ra is considered the high god. He engenders creation by first emerging as a co-agulated being of the primal ocean of energy, consciousness, and eternity, and all-encompassing creator divinity arises. Furthermore, he takes on time and space and causes part of the noon to take on shapes and forms of movement and composition and decomposition through chemical reactions that occur through space and time, which we call creation. So this is symbolic to the law of divine oneness. You go back to the law of divine oneness, and like I showed you even in my previous lesson, you have a circle that you draw, and then you being in a point, and I fill up that circle with more circles and more circles and more circles. So it just pretty much means that yes, you are the center, but we're all the center of the universe because we are one universe within a universe. We're a cell within a cell. We're an organism within an organism, meaning that we're a tool for humanity to do the right thing. And when you are thinking about gods or goddesses within Kemetic teachings or philosophies, you want to take on their identities. You want to take on their attributes. Ra has many different attributes as well. So this is just one of many attributes he has. He has him. So it's Asar, Ra, and Haru. They even have a holy trinity of all of them coming together as well as one. So you do see a lot of that in Kemet way before Christianity. Christianity didn't come into existence till at least about 40 or 4,000 years to 4,500 years after they have well established their holy trinities. So you see it all throughout Kemet. It's a significant part of their philosophy, the Holy Trinity. So with that being said, moving on to the sixth dynasty of Kemet, it's between 2325, 2150 BCE. As I mentioned, just like the previous empire or dynasty, rather, they grew in size, became more complex. The environment itself became unstable, so they lost a lot of power, and resources became scarce. So Kemet became more decentralized and vulnerable to be attacked by outsiders. So during this time, the first rock cutout tombs appeared nearby provincial capitals. For example, Aswan. At last, the old kingdom ended in the sixth dynasty, and the first immediate period followed. So that's what happened during that time. So I kind of want to go into the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at and talk about that philosophy. It's also a part of Pert M. Haru, which means coming forth by day, or the Book of the Dead. So this is all a part of the Book of the Dead, or you call it Mediterranean philosophy. So Mediterranean philosophy, or the word neter, means nature. It also means a company of gods, or Palti means a company of gods. So that's what Mediterraneanism is. It's the same as Maya philosophy. It's just having law and order between the cosmos and within the earth of the physical plane. So it's having the law and order and the balance in the cosmos, and acknowledging it here in this realm as well, and even acknowledging it in the nether realm as well, in the astral plane. So just having that cosmic order within nature, divinity, time, and space. So that is what that is for when you think about Kemet. So I also want to show this too, because I just noticed this. So I see that this is an early depiction of Isis, also known as Aset. She is holding baby Haru, also known as Horus. And pretty much Horus the child would be, they considered him, because he takes on different aspects. He's seen as Heru the Conqueror. He's also seen as Horus the Child. He's also seen as Horus being the age, because he's become more wise, and he becomes the master of the earth when he goes into his final stage called Huru So you become very masterful. You become a sage, and you become wise because you've lived and learned. And so he's symbolic to that too. So he takes on many different positions as a god, you know. And of course, between Osiris and Heru, when kings passed, that's what they wanted to ascend to. They wanted to reach those higher planes of existence. With Asar, he's more of the underground god, and he was the ruler of the dead. It says in Ancient KMT that you pretty much, when you die, you just change worlds. You don't really just die and decompose and that's it. You just change in worlds, meaning that your energy is being transferred and it's not being destroyed or created. It's only being transferred. Yes. So that is something else I wanted to throw out there. And then I also want to read the 42 negative confessions, which came before Moses' 10 Commandments, which is a carbon copy of that. So I wanted to read that off to you guys, along with reading the comparison lives of Heru and Jesus Christ. I also want to show that too. I didn't include that on this slide, but I want to include that too. So, okay, so the statements uttered by the deceased as he stood before Netzeru were called the Declarations of Innocence, or admonitions of Ma'at. There were 42 laws by which the person who was to have lived his life, and the standard by which he would be measured at the time of judgment. They are referred in Budge's translation of the Book of the Dead as the negative confessions, and are listed as follows. Before I read them off, some of these are repetitive, and I don't know if it's just to make emphasis on that principle, but some of them you do notice that they are repetitive. So number one is I have not done iniquity. Number two is I have not robbed with violence. Number three is I have not stolen. Number four is I have not done no murder. I have done no harm. Number five is I have not defrauded offerings. Number six is I have not diminished obligations. Number seven is I have not plundered the netter. Number eight is I have not spoken lies. Number nine is I have not snatched away food. Number 10 is I have not caused pain. Number 11 is I have not committed fornication. Number 12 is I have not caused shedding of tears. Number 13, I have not dealt deceitfully. Number 14, I have not transgressed. Number 15 is I have not acted guilefully. I have not laid. Number 16 is I have not laid waste the plowed land. Number 17 is I have not been an eavesdropper. Number 18 is I have not set my lips in motion against any man. Number 19 is I have not been angry and wrathful except for a just cause. Number 20, I have not defiled the wife of any man. Number 21, I have not defiled the wife of any man. It's repeated twice. Number 22, sometimes people switch it and say I have not defiled. I've seen a version of I have not defiled the husband of any woman. But I think that's pretty much, we could probably go with that. Number 22 is I have not polluted myself. Number 23 is I have not caused terror. Number 24 is I have not transgressed. That's another one that's repeated. 25 is I have not burned with rage. Number 26, I have not stopped my ears against the words of right and truth, which is Ma'at. Number 27 is I have not worked grief. I have not acted with insolence. 29, I have not stirred up strife. I have not judged hastily. Number 31, I have not been an eavesdropper. Number 32, I have not multiplied words exceedingly. Number 33, I have not done neither harm nor ill. Number 34, I have never cursed the king. Number 35, I have never fouled the water. Number 36, I have not spoken scornfully. Number 37, I have not cursed the necher. Number 38, I have not stolen. 39, I have not defrauded the offerings of the necher. Number 40 is I have not plundered the offerings to the blessed dead. And number 41, I have not flinched the food of the infant, neither have I sinned against the necher of my native town. And number 42, I have not slaughtered with evil intent the cattle of necher. So that is the 42 negative confessions of Ma'at. And there are, like I said, there are 42 affirmations of Ma'at as well, but we will not go over that right now. We just want to focus on this. So I kind of wanted to do this because it's more of a comparison to, you see the parallels between this and the 10 Commandments of Moses. All right. By the way, I don't like to be the bearer of bad news, but there still isn't archaeological evidence that shows that Moses existed. So unfortunately, that's bad news to Christians, but that's just the way it is. So with that being said, I want to read his 10 commandments and then compare them to the 42 laws of Ma'at. So number 1 says, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt have no other gods before me. So that is, you can compare that one to 41. I have not flinched the food of the infant, neither have I sinned against the necher of my native town. So that's the one you can compare that to. And then the number 2 says, thou shalt not make unto thee any grieving image. Number 3 is, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, which is, you can compare that to number 7, 37, and 41. So, I have not plundered the necher, so that's pretty much the same with that. Number 4 is, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Number 5 is, honor thy father and mother, which you can compare 1, 12, and 28 to. And then thou shalt not kill is number 4. Number 7 is thou shalt not commit adultery, 11, 20, 21. So you can compare those to those. And then thou shalt not steal, which is 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 39, and 40. You can compare those principles to that. And thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, which is 8, 13, 18, and 29. You can compare it to, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house or wife, which is 13, 20, 21, 29, and 33. So that is the comparison to that. And then you